Anyway, now as we continue with the show, if you've been watching the show over the past few weeks, it is brought to you by Maybelline New York. They did my makeup. They have the Super Stay matte makeup. They have Fit Me foundations for every single shade of every single woman or man out there. You know what? It's a new year. It's a new decade. I don't know. If you want to buy anything for your girlfriend, if she loves makeup, trust me, this is what you want to get her. Your wife, this is what you want to get her. Even for your daughter, you know what I mean? Like if she's, trying a little something, you want to start out with something that is quality. Now we want to give you a chance to win a hamper, and all you have to do, courtesy of Maybelline New York, is use that hashtag #LongLastingLove and keep on sending in your creative posts by telling us what is that one thing that never, ever, ever misses from your handbag. That is it. At the Trend Live with that hashtag #LongLastingLove, and who knows, that hamper could be yours. Alafu pia Theodore anagoja kusoma tweets zenyu za meme challenge, so you can send them in. However, I am looking forward to the tweets, the questions, and the overwhelming love that I am hoping that he will get from you, our viewers. He has not been doing interviews. He's not been in the scene. He's not been doing music. He has been busy doing something that he's about to tell us. Collins Majale, that we know famously as Collo, is finally Bizak. What up, Collo?
What's up?
Man, it's so good to have you back.
I'm happy to be here and I'm glad, man. Thanks, Amina. How have you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
Well, taking just a step at a time, taking life a step at a time. It's a It's a time just to evaluate process.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are these that you're evaluating, and why did you take such a long time to evaluate them?
Process. Everyone has a process, and process requires patience. Just learning how to grow, growing yourself, and understanding purpose. So I've just been finding myself, knowing myself, kujijua tu zaidi kidogo. But niko fresh, mi niko.
Manze, how is the family, first and foremost? I should have started with that. How's the fam?
Wako poa. I'm thankful. Mama ako sawa, Tawala ako poa. Kila mtu yani ako salama yani.
Nice.
Nasema thank you God.
Tunasema alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So I know that you definitely have been busy doing something. We've not been seeing you around. When is the last time you even did an interview?
Well, I've been MIA kidogo. I went back to school. Pursuing my music at Kabarak University.
Nice.
I'm just about done with my diploma, and I still want to keep going. So I've just been in school. I'm actually on my attachment semester. So my attachment is my music, and that's what I've been focusing on a lot.
You'll be attached to Musioka studio. It's just learning with Musioka. But you've also been traveling the country. I don't know what you've been doing. What were you doing as you went around Elgeyo Marakwet?
Well, I was attending a friend of mine. He's called Bovin Sochieng. He was having his, traditional wedding. So tulikuwa tumeenda kumsindikiza. By the way, shout out to Bovin Sochieng. But apart from that, just I've been in the studio working on my music, perfecting on that. That's what I've been doing most of the time.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is so interesting. Usually we hear of good boy or good girl gone bad, but yours is a case of bad boy gone good. How has the transition been so far?
Well, as I'd mentioned, process, man.
Okay.
Of course, having started out my career in 2001, and now in 2020. That's 20 years, and I don't take it for granted because, if you think about even your 10,000 hours, I've done, but, I've started from a different springboard, should I say.
Yeah. Now, I read somewhere that, so you were talking about, how you met Phoebe, I think it was back in 2009. And so I don't know if it was an article or it was an interview or you posted this online, but you were saying how she had told you that she's going to take your daughter to church and either you follow her or you're not the kind of man that she wants to be with. Is that true? And was she like the inspiration for you to go this righteous path?
Well, of course, you know, Phoebe is my best friend. She's my partner, she's my wife, and na thank God sana for her juu alikuwa instrumental sana towards my salvation. She actually also, God used her to introduce me to my spiritual mentors. And, you know, she's my partner, man. Yeni mambo yote, man.
Yendo ali-inspire yo nini yako kwenda church, kwanza sasa?
Of course, ndo nasema alikuwa instrumental.
Okay.
But pia mimi nilikuwa na desire God at that point, unaona? Juu si kusukumwa ati mimi mwenyewe nilikaa chini nikaona kama mwanaume mazee, after kupitia hiyo process nilipitia from 2001, venye ilifika 2014 I think maji ilizidiunga, mimi nikakuja na mwiko.
Sasa ndo wewe huyu sasa leo.
No, mimi sasa.
And it was so interesting to sort of see you transition, because you just, when you'd meet Collo, before that he'd talk about music a lot, talk about performing, talk about writing. And then all of a sudden you just start talking about deep things, start talking about purpose, your why.
Yes.
What, you know, what impact do you have, you know, to the people around you? And I was like, what is happening? Who is this guy?
What's going on? What's going on, man?
And I bet a lot of people must have been like, okay, because people doubt, you know, when in the industry, they doubt and they question your intention once you start saying that you want to, you know, you're seeking a path that, you know, it's you and God. Did you encounter any of that?
Well, I guess I was surrounded with a lot of yes men at that point. And, you know, the levels I'd gotten to, man, mi nilikuwa Collo king wa rap, unaona? Na mi hakuna mse alikuwa ananishow, mi nilihit nikiwa 16. Nando alikuwa ananishow anything Kenya. Tulikuwa klepto, tulikuwa na masong zote. But then I realized that was a lot of traditional culture. And I desired more, you know? So I thought, is it possible to transform all this and let's move from traditional culture to kingdom culture, you know?
Yeah, I like that. Wow. Now, when we talk about klepto, you know, and it was so cool for you to talk about your wife like that. I love men who talk about their wives and praise them like that and talk about, you know, the influence they've had on their lives. Someone, yeah, and they say he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And your very good friend found a wife, starting a family. Years ago, you had told me that, you know, this is back when Nyash was in States. You were like, you know what, if Nyash ever came back to this game, these guys are not ready. He's going to run the industry. That was years ago. Seeing him and his success right now, you predicted this, so none of this is a surprise to you.
Well, you know, as I'd mentioned, I'm a son to a prophetess. And I think that gift is just imparted in me because it's not just Nyash alone. I started my career out as a collaborator, and I got to work with groups like Camp Mula. I was outside a studio in 2009, and I told Teo, you guys are going to be nominated for BET. Achana na chaguo. So, you know, I give all the glory to God because I'm surrounded by greatness. And everyone that I've gotten to work with has always been successful. And I just pointed back to God.
I love that. And, you know, it was so interesting because at the time, people didn't understand what Kamula were coming out with.
Yeah.
And now, the Gengeton artists are facing the same thing. And you've always been very receptive to new styles. And, you know, the culture is changing and it's shifting. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, first of all, I thank God because Nairobi has a variety, you know. For instance, you mentioned Camp Mula. Camp Mula opened the gates for artists like Calligraph, because then, if you're singing in English, Kenyans would not necessarily be receptive. But that collabo that we did with them was very significant because then it redefined everything. And if you think about the transition of Gengeton, I'm proud of those young guys, man. At least they're doing something that they can, you know. I think they're the most free generation.
Manze, I think they are.
Because back then you didn't express yourself the way they are. So, do I like Gengeton? Probably I don't subscribe. I wouldn't listen to a lot of that kind of music. As a music scholar, I don't think there's anything wrong with that music. And I like the fact that they're expressing themselves. themselves. The only thing that I would advise each Gengeton artist is just realize one day you need to grow up and grow out of that.
That sort of phase of your life where you were talking and referencing to
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Do you regret any of that? Because like you had a lot of
no regrets,
club bangers.
No regrets, man. No regrets at all, because that was part of the process.
Nice, which is true. You need to experience that to sort of learn and understand, you know, what it is that you even, what are the lessons from that experience.
Yes.
Uliandika hivi juzi ma-artist ndo mafala. Ebu ni expound, ulikuwa unamaanisha nini?
Hiyo time ilikuwa ile time venye ile topic ilikuwa na trend about, what was this? Play KE.
Aha. Oh, okay.
You know, I feel storytellers in Kenya are yet to be viewed as mirrors of the society. But then it begins with the artist. Especially musicians need to realize that they also walk and operate in the prophetic. The nation has a purpose. If they can find out what that is, probably they could align themselves to that purpose and stop wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. So you just said, you know, you started music in 2001. It's now 2020. It's 19 years.
Yeah.
A long time. How would you rate the industry right now, 1 to 10?
Well, 1 to 10, well, I'll use figures that I just had a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and he told me that so far we've only maximized on about 0.36% of Kenya's creative and performing arts industry. So that means we have a really dense forest to look through, you know. There's so much opportunities, but man, when I sit back and look at everything, I thank God for even the season that we're heading into, you know.
We have to be thankful. I like it. Ukiongea na Collo, hata unaanza kufeel tu your gratitude. Hata unataka kuwa too grateful. Now we have to talk about a new song, but before we do that, najua watu, you know, Twitter and online have a lot to say. So what are people saying, Theodore?
Oh yes, nakwambia, I mean, people reacting to Collo and they're welcoming Collo back. Wakwambia, kwanzia apesi, anasema changing culture into the kingdom. We have Daniel Maithia say Collo is a man of faith. Listen to his words. Wow. Nakwambia mimi pia nilimjua Collo si jana, sijamjua na Bazo Kizo. Mimi namkumbuka tangu enzi za napenda unavonukia. Urembo wako kweli wavutia. Unani confuse. Yeah. Ati nikionaga huu mrembo niko naendaga ga. Hiyo ni kuanguka kumwagika. Anyway, sasa tuko hapa on another level because Collo is this man, we know him. Na si mtu kawaida, sababu ukiangalia kwenye Twitter unasema, "Hey Amina, I'm watching live from Kampala, Uganda. It's really good to see Collo back, the son of a prophetess." Huyu ni Muyuganda. Na tuingie Kenya sasa. Kenya tuko hapa, Ngong iko locked, tunaenda all the way, leo tuna trend. Hey Amina, that is Bruce. Tuko na jamaa wangu hapa, nasema the show is lit, just tuned in, watching the show from Ruaka, Ruaka de Deru. Boniface Amoya anasema, hey Amina, ambia Collo sisi kama mafans wa Kleptomaniacs, we demand a comeback tune. Ataki Jashinsky na Roba pia, wamesikia wako hapa, yani he's truly saved. Now I know. At first, thought he was just doing a collab, alafu alikamficha Melina wapi. That is John Maraga. John Maraga, swali yako itajibiwa, alifichana wapi. Nice seeing Collo back from, that is, leta ikianza na T, na S na U. Ni Suma. Huyu ni Suma huyu. Huyu ni Suma. Watu wa South Africa, wacheni kulichanganya. Tuko na Daniel Maitha, Collo is a man of faith. Yes, I read that earlier. Big up Collo. Na pia naendelea kukumbusha watu kwamba Collo is in the house, but kumbuka kwamba pia we have the meme challenge. And so far, apesi nimekuwa na unasema ukisimamia maji na chakula kwa harusi, hivyo ndivyo unajisikiaga. Unajisikiaga ukiwa afloat. Unajisikiaga ukiwa juu ya maji kama ferry, literally ndivyo hivyo. Keep them coming. Kumbuka kwamba sijasoma meme challenge. Hashtag ni Hey Amina. Hashtag meme challenge. Amina, back to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Theodore. He's so silly. It's so funny. Okay, so keep on sending in your tweets. You've been away from the game for a while, and now you've come back with yet another tune. Now, for you who's not watched it yet, before we even start talking about it, maybe you should, take a look at a snippet of his brand new song. It's called Conqueror. We'll get back and we'll talk with Collo.
Okay, the great.
Yes, theater need hook. It does not need a chorus.
Huku ulisema tu no, not for this
Siku hizi
song.
unajua sana consume mazee mziki speedy, so nilikuwa nakatu kusend hiyo message ingie speedy tu.
Eminem tu.
One
Haraka.
time, si ndio?
What's your, so I'm listening to it, so you're sending so many different messages. Sijui kulifanya nini lakini you didn't sell out. So I really liked the wordplay on that, but I'm trying to remember the rest of the lyrics. What are your favorite lines on the song?
Every line is my favorite line, man. But my best line ever was ilibidi niokoke ndo niwashe jiko. That's the best bar in the world, man. If you think about it.
It is.
Yeah.
And but you used to always, use puns as well in your jams. And
Yeah.
sometimes some of them would sort of like pass just over people's heads.
Well,
but I
they'll
really like
catch
this
up.
song. So
They'll
let's
catch
talk
up.
about this song.
Let's
Tell
talk
me
about it.
Tell me about it.
It's a status update on my testimony after my salvation. And it's inspired by Romans 8:37. No, what do we say to all these things? That we're more than conquerors through the one that loved us. And, I've conquered so many things that I'm grateful for. Personal things, challenges, and they had, mental health,
What are you proudest to have conquered? I bet the journey wasn't easy. I bet there were so many challenges on the way that you sort of faced within, your path. But what was the biggest hurdle for you to overcome?
Well, there are a couple of them, and ranging from cigarettes, addiction, drugs, alcohol, pornography, masturbation, all that stuff, man.
You've never talked about that. I've never heard you talk about.
Yeah, man.
And I was seeing the other day people, saying that in Kenya, guys don't talk about it, but masturbation and pornography addiction is actually really big. Do you talk about it to people? Because I know you mentor a lot of young guys. Do you talk to them about it?
Yes, I have people that we have these conversations about. It's high time we have these conversations, because if we don't, people are slowly suffering.
Yes, they are. What were the drugs that you were addicted to, if I may ask?
The basic ones: cigarettes, alcohol, weed.
How did you overcome them? Did you have to go to rehab? Did you?
Nah,
get
luckily I
somebody-
didn't have to go to rehab, and well, luckily I didn't get there. I'll just say, man, that's God's grace. But it started in the spiritual, awakening, and after that, as much as you have these challenges, it's not just spiritual, it's also mental. So having a psychologist is good.
Therapy.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we're opening up more, creating more awareness about mental health, which is something that you're very passionate about. But now we're starting the conversations. Doesn't that feel great?
Yes. And that's why we're going to keep on making music now. Our music and our content is going to be wrapped around wellness, and it's still going to be cool. Yes, it doesn't have to be anything that pop culture dictates in terms of traditional culture. Think kingdom culture.
I love that. I love it so much, to just have more purpose in your life. I love where your head is at right now. I'm so happy that you're back. I cannot wait to see more that you're going to do. Conqueror is your third single since you seek salvation.
Yes.
After your 2-year hiatus. What are we going to see more of you this year?
Well, hopefully, as we prepare to approach into Easter to celebrate the redemption story of Jesus Christ, I promise my fans to release at least 8 tracks before then. So next week, 2 tracks. Next week, but 1, 2 tracks. The following like that. 8 tracks back to back.
Hey, 2020, we
Yep.
are not ready at all.
We're not joking.
Hey, naona. All the best in school.
Thank you so
Utuite
much.
bash, ukigraduate, manze.
Thank you, I will.
Tunyime pilau,
And
kuja
by the way, I would like to send a
Go
shout
ahead,
out.
yes,
I would
yes.
like to, what's my camera?
That's your camera.
That's my camera. My Bolt guy who just dropped me, he's called Bossy Saitoti. special shout out. He said need to me shout out. And also Mike Otieno. Earlier on, I was with them. They were helping me clean my new crib. So I say thank you so much, Mike. And there's a chick who just sent me a Instagram message. She's called Wamboy, and she told me that her daughter was born premature, and they're looking for funding because the daughter is deaf. So you guys, if you can reach out to Wamboy Wangeshi, support her daughter. Let's see whatever we can do. First of all, just pray for her.
Nice.
Yeah,
Pray
man.
for her, and then you can also support her financially with what you have. You said Wamboy who?
Wamboy Wangeshi,
Wamboy
let me
Wangeshi.
get
Tell
that.
me
Yeah,
social
man.
media. So Kulu's going to
Wamboy Wangeshi, yes.
Okay.
Wamboy Wangeshi, at Wamboy Wangeshi.
All right, there you go. So make sure that you find her and help her out where you can. Thank you so much for coming through, Collo.
Thank you for having me.
Can't wait to see more of you this year. Thank you so much for this exclusive interview as well.
No
Thank you
worries.
for being open enough to talk about your struggles, talking about what it is that you were really just challenged with. And life is not easy, and it's good sometimes for people to say, you know what, I fell off the horse, now I'm back on again, and I'm feeling great. The hashtag is Hey Amina, at The Trend Live.